there, gang. Lauren here, the Gratitude Addict. Welcome to Gratefully Living the Chronic Life show. I come to you every Thursday, although I haven't in a couple of weeks, to bring special guests and topics that pertain to living our best lives with chronic pain, illness, and gratitude. And I have a fantastic guest tonight. Dr. Robin Pfaff is with us. She's a health and wellness coach, a fibromyalgia coach. She has an amazing story. She lives with illness herself. And I want to encourage you all to tune in, ask questions. She's got really great tips and strategies for us to live our best lives with chronic pain and illness. But before she comes on, hello, it's been a while. Thank you for bearing with me these last couple of weeks while I've taken a little mini hiatus to do some self-care. It's been great. And I've got a couple great shows lined up, which I'll tell you about in a bit. I am giving away 2 free copies of my 52-week intention journal. Next week will be the year anniversary of this coming out. So I'm going to be giving away 2 signed copies tonight. All you have to do, if you guys have watched before, you know the drill. Put in hashtag gratitude in the comments anytime during the broadcast tonight, and you will be entered to win a copy. 2 people will win. So make sure you do that. You're free to share in the comments if it's your first time. Welcome. We like this. I like this to be an interactive broadcast, and I want you to feel as much a part of it as me and Dr. Pfaff are going to be. So please feel free to weigh in with your comments. I'll try to get to as many as possible. I put them on the screen, and here's the first one. Courtney. Hello, Courtney. Thank you for being here. Mel, hello from Pennsylvania. Hello from almost Pennsylvania. I'm almost at the border. Thank you all for being here. I run a group, if you're not aware, if you're watching from somewhere else, I run a community on Facebook called Attitude of Gratitude with oh no, I'm wearing a Gratitude Addict shirt. I was going to say it's on my shirt, but it's not. Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. You can find us on Facebook. You can also find us. I have a new-ish community over on Mighty Networks. We call it AOG Mighty. And it's not the Mighty, which some of you may be familiar with, that writes articles, and they've got a website and fantastic articles about living with chronic pain and illness. This is not that. It sounds like it's that, but it's not that. Mighty Networks is another platform, just like Facebook. I decided to start a community over there a couple months ago. It's different from AOG Facebook in that we talk more openly about our struggles and difficulties. Today I started a 24/7 real-time chat over there. Going to offer some courses, special events, another Flush the Format live chat over there, but you have to join. So to join, if you're in AOG Facebook, there is a pinned post featured that I shared today, but you can also go to, what does this say? Oh, you can go to my website, gratitudeaddict.com, and you will see a link there to join, and I hope you do. In AOG Facebook last week, I shared that I'm looking for members of Attitude of Gratitude with chronic pain to share their story with me. I'm looking to interview as many of you as possible for a book project I've been working on that talks about gratitude in living with chronic pain and illness. So it would help me out a lot. And thank you for those of you who have volunteered already. It's very selfless. I could cry just thinking about it, but if AOG has touched your life and made your life better, made an impact, even in a small way, I would really appreciate you giving me a couple minutes of your time to talk. The interviews are going to be over the next 2 months, and I'm starting to put together a schedule, which I can send you, and you can choose a time that works for you. So please private message me on Facebook, or you can email me too. My contact information is at Gratitude Addict. But it would really help a lot to reach people out there who are still suffering that can use the AOG way, as I like to say. It's made my life better. I've heard from many, many of you, hundreds, if not thousands of you, that have said it makes your life better too. So if you can please donate your time, I'd appreciate it. And thanks to those of you who have already volunteered. I think that's it. Tomorrow we have an AOG Facebook. We have our gratitude circle, our Friday 15-minute gratitude circle. It's on Zoom. It's only 15 minutes. It's set to the backdrop of some soothing music, and we share our gratitude openly for 15 minutes or sit in silence and absorb everybody else's. So please join us. I'm always looking for new ways to connect us. I believe I say this every week. Gratitude paired with connection is the secret sauce to a life of joy, purpose, and intention in living with chronic pain and illness. So I'm always looking for new ways for us to connect. And I'm glad you're here tonight. So without further ado, let me bring on our guest. I don't want to take any more time away from her. Tonight we have Dr. Robin Pfaff. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Lauren. I'm so happy to be here and be here with your community.
Me too. My big joke every week is that when I bring on a guest, it's always somebody that I say I stalked them. And I think I found you on LinkedIn, right? Or we found each other on LinkedIn a while ago, and we met. I always like to talk with my guests ahead of time and just make sure it's a good fit for the show. And you've got such a wonderful approach that I know our guests are going to love. So, gang, please feel free throughout the episode if you have any questions for Dr. Pfaff. Well, that's her website, but I was going to say, ask. Oh, here it is. Ask Dr. Pfaff a question. So, Robin, can you share with us your background? Because you also live with chronic pain and illness yourself, which is, I think it's a really great, not great that you live with that, of course, but I think the fact that you do this for a living and you coach others makes you so, I don't know what the right word is, but you're trustworthy is not the right word, but I would want to go to somebody like you because you understand.
Right. And I have fibromyalgia. For those of you who don't know, it's a chronic pain disorder that's characterized by poor sleep, insomnia, brain fog, overall widespread pain, and a host of other chronic cohorts. I was diagnosed well over 20 years ago, back before high-speed internet, and there were very few resources. So I mostly stayed in a closet with my diagnosis. I was working as a psychotherapist. I was a psychotherapist for over 25 years, and I worked part-time. So I would see my clients 2 or 3 days a week, and then I would spend the other days of the week recovering, but in the privacy of my own home.
Right.
So most people didn't know that I was dealing with chronic pain and fibromyalgia. I found my way to health coaching about 5 years ago through the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute, where I received some specific training on working with fibromyalgia coaches and became a certified fibromyalgia coach with that organization. And then I also did some training with Well Coaches organization and became a national board certified health and wellness coach.
Wow. That's ambitious for living with chronic illness yourself. Fibromyalgia is one of my conditions as well, and I understand the exhaustion and the pain that comes along with that. So for you to get go back to school and get certified and all of that, plus selflessness and wanting to help others that live with this is really admirable.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been a natural segue for me from being a psychotherapist to being a health coach for women with fibromyalgia, because one of the major triggers for the development of fibromyalgia is trauma.
Right.
It could be childhood trauma. It could be trauma from sexual assault as an adult. It can be triggered by a car accident. It can be triggered by traumatic birth and delivery, labor and delivery processes. Wow. It can be triggered by surgery. It can be triggered by, I might have already said car accidents. That having a serious car accident in my mid-20s was one of the triggers for me.
Wow, I've heard that one.
Fibromyalgia.
Yeah, I know several of our members have had that experience after car accidents. I didn't know about the birth and delivery. That's interesting, but it makes a lot of sense.
Right. It's like any number of things can put a sensitive system that's sort of predisposed to fibromyalgia through genetics or environment, can put the nervous system in a chronic state of fight or flight, so that the system is kind of on hyper alert all the time. And so my work, excuse me, my work in helping people recover from trauma as a psychotherapist informs my work as a health coach, because we can talk about the impact of trauma on the development of their fibromyalgia, which most people don't have the opportunity to do in therapy because most therapists aren't trained in knowing how to deal with chronic pain and chronic illness.
No, they're not. You're right. It's difficult to find ones that are trained in that. I know when I got out, I was in, almost exactly 10 years ago, I was in rehab, but for alcohol abuse, but also it was a chronic pain program, which unfortunately is no longer there. But upon discharge, they were looking for somebody close to me in New Jersey, a therapist that specialized in chronic pain, and they just couldn't find them.
Yeah,
Just couldn't find them. It's sad.
they're few and far between, but I've come to absolutely love the coaching approach because it's so proactive. It takes us where we are right now and focuses on where we want to go and how we can live our best life, which is the title of our talk today.
Right. Living our best life. And you've got a BEST. There's a play on words there that I want to talk about. But I know when you and I met last time, you talked about you like to share and help your patients through emotional, social, and spiritual well-being, which is
That's right.
similar to the stuff, with my group Attitude of Gratitude with chronic pain. We deal with the emotional aspect because when you get diagnosed, at least I have never, and most of the people I talk to have never had a doctor that says, you really should get some emotional help because the emotion for me and many others, the emotional pain is far more
Yeah.
debilitating than the physical.
Right,
Right.
right, right. They
Right.
go hand in hand.
Right.
So the BEST is an acronym, stands for body, emotions, social support, and transcendent spirituality. And it's like you said, it's a bio, psycho, social, spiritual approach that takes into account the wholeness of our being. I think a lot of times with chronic illness, we're so focused on the physical aspects of our
Yes.
illness because it interferes with our ability to get things done and to
Right.
sleep and so forth, that sometimes we forget that we have all these other dimensions that we can rely on for resources. And of course, that's where your group, really hones in on that. And I really applaud that because it when we realize that we have more resources than we think we do to deal with our chronic illness, then that sets us on a positive spiral of moving forward and learning to take control and learning how to manage our chronic illness rather than us having it manage us.
Such a good point. And thank you. And I applaud. That's why I wanted to have you on the show because I don't find a whole lot of people like you who deal with that emotional aspect. And that's, for me at least, I believe that that's something that is within our control, where
Mhm.
the physical is not necessarily within our control. I mean, maybe little aspects of it. Um, but you're right, that is what we hone in on because that's the part. It hurts. Of course, we want it to go away. It hurts. It interferes with so many of our abilities, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And the one of the values of focusing on gratitude is that it sets our mind focused on what we appreciate about what we have in our lives, but also what we want more of. And it
Mm.
sets our nervous system into a place of calm rather than being in a situation of constantly being in a state of alarm. And when our
Right.
nervous system is calmer, then our body's more able to access inner and outer resources to support our own healing. Because with chronic illness, when we're in a state of negativity and despair and negative emotions, our body reads that as a threat. And we're creating our own internal threat by
Right.
what we're putting into our own ecosystem.
Fight or flight.
right, that we
Right.
have control over. So practicing gratitude and also self-compassion, which is something I want to talk with you and your
Yeah,
viewers tonight about, supports our nervous system, supports the path of healing.
I agree. We've got a comment here from Lisa Holst. I'm sure I have fibromyalgia also. However, I can't get primary care physician and rheumatologist to give me the I
Diagnosis.
assume you mean diagnosis. Of course, I wasn't having a flare when I saw my rheumatologist, of course. Any tips on getting them to diagnosis? That's a great question because I know over the years, a lot of doctors don't believe fibromyalgia is a real thing.
Right,
Do you feel
which
they're coming more around to that in recent
I think
years?
so, because there's just such a wealth of information supporting the fact that there is fibromyalgia. There's brain studies that show that the brains of fibromyalgia patients are different from those who don't have fibromyalgia. Um, I would have just a frank conversation with your doctor about their approach to fibromyalgia. If you're not getting anywhere with that particular doctor, I would ask for a second opinion. Usually fibromyalgia is diagnosed by completing a number of blood tests. It's sometimes referred to as a diagnosis of exclusion.
Right.
And but it's also can be diagnosed clinically by the number of symptoms that you have. And there are forms that describe the symptoms. It's a checklist. So if you're not getting what you need from one doctor, then have a heart-to-heart conversation. Another resource you can use for this is Dr. Ginevra Lipton has a book called The Fibro Manual. She's a physician who has fibromyalgia herself, and she has written her book for patients to be able to take the information she shares to their doctors. There's a large appendix that describes how to talk to your doctor about fibromyalgia. So I would look up that book in Amazon and get that.
Great tip.
That can help inform your conversation with your doctor.
And there's pressure points, aren't there? My doctor goes, I forget how many, but somewhere on my arm and
There
would it
are,
all go through the
although
roof?
that used to be the basis for diagnosis. The diagnostic criteria has changed over
Oh,
the
okay.
years, but overall widespread pain and the length that has continued and the number of ways that fibromyalgia interferes with your life, there's a whole list. There's a whole list of criteria.
That's very helpful information. I'm going a little backwards here. Hi, Lisa. Now that I've just put your question on. Melanie, hi there. Glad you're here. Darlene hello from Ohio. Hello. Raylan's here from Utah. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. If you're joining us late, giving away 2 copies, signed copies of my book tonight. All you have to do is what Courtney did, #gratitude in the comments, and I'll do a drawing at the end of the episode. We're here with Dr. Robin Pfaff. Please feel free to ask her any questions. Such a wealth of knowledge, and you coming from somebody that lives with it also is so helpful. Hi, Dorothy. Glad you're here. Dorothy, we were just talking about publishers before. Dorothy did my headshot in
Oh,
my
nice.
books.
So nice.
Thanks, Dorothy, the wonderful photographer. Love AOG. Thank you. Facebook user, awesome. Thank you. Great advice. It was great advice. Thanks for asking, Lisa. Please, I encourage you all to ask any questions. So I have your Facebook page up here. Flourishing with Fibromyalgia is the name of your wellness business, your health coaching. When somebody comes to you, what should they expect? How do you work with somebody? Does it differ on the patient? How do you work that?
Well, the first point of contact is scheduling what I call a breakthrough session with me, which is free. And there's a link to that on my website and a calendar where you can schedule a time to talk. And in that conversation, we focus on whether or not we'd be a good match to work together. I ask a lot of questions about your journey with fibromyalgia and chronic pain. Then you get to ask a lot of questions about me, my journey with fibro, and also the way I work with clients. And then we put our heads together and decide on a next step. If we feel like we're a good match to work together, I I enroll you in my foundational Flourishing with Fibromyalgia Wellness Coaching Program, which consists of 15 sessions in 5 months. We meet 3 times a month for 5 months, and we talk about all of the aspects of that best protocol, everything to do with your physical health, your emotional health and well-being, your social connections, and your spirituality. And we interweave that with the development of self-compassion strategies to quiet that negative inner critical voice that a lot of us have, that is always has a running commentary on how we're running our life and how we could do it better.
Yes.
And so we meet on Zoom or over the phone for 45 or 50 minutes. And the coaching sessions are pretty simple. We talk about how your week went the week before. We talk about what's coming up. And then we set 1 or 2, what I like to call micro goals or micro steps. You know, it doesn't do us any good to overload ourselves. I think you were talking to me before the show about how
Setting
it's better to
intentions.
set intentions
Right.
than these lofty goals that we can't meet.
Right.
And then we get discouraged. In fibro coaching, we break things down into small bite-sized pieces so that we can get a positive spiral of success going.
I love it.
And we celebrate each little small success, and even the things that don't seem successful, well, then we learn something. So it's all valuable, it's all useful, and step by step, we create a positive spiral of healing.
I
And of
love it.
course, it's individualized depending on, you know, what issues a particular person has. But that's overall how I work with fibromyalgia clients.
I love that. What did you micro steps you called it? Micro goals?
Micro steps, yeah.
Micro steps. I love that because you're so right. We often, I should speak for myself, but I know from speaking with other members, we feel like we should be able to do something. I
I know.
should be able to empty the dishwasher and clean the sink. I should be able to do that. Maybe yes, maybe no. And there's a saying, don't stop shoulding on yourself.
Yes, yes.
Um, and then if we can't make that because our body or mind is telling us not to, that we need to rest instead, we get so down on ourselves. Our expectations are so high.
And that's where that critical voice comes in and beats us up, alarms our nervous system. Then pretty soon we're stuck in a downward spiral of
Right.
flaring symptoms. Just this morning, I was talking to a new client about how to set a micro goal or a micro step. And she was saying how frustrated she is about the house being in disarray. And I
Mm.
said, well, what if you broke it down into what you could accomplish in 1 or 2 minutes? You know, what kind of housekeeping task could you do? And can you add that to a habit that's already in place? And here's what she came up with. She feeds her dogs every morning, and she creates a gravy for them that she warms up in the microwave.
Oh,
She said,
happy dogs.
I know, spoiled dogs. She said, well, while I'm waiting for their food to be ready, I could take 1 or 2 minutes to start unloading the dishwasher or wiping down the counters, and then I can call that a victory. And so that's her plan for the next week. And I know it sounds like that's not very much, but when you're stuck on the couch or you're stuck in that downward spiral, that's what it takes, is small steps, small positive actions to move yourself forward.
For sure, because if we set you know, these big goals for ourselves, the over looking at the big picture is so overwhelming. Like if
Right,
you look at that kitchen and see what a disaster it is, it's
right,
overwhelming and then you'll do nothing. But
right.
if all you can do is feed the dog or wipe down the sink or whatever, give yourself a pat on the back and
That's right,
that positive reinforcement will make you want
right.
to keep going. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's key. It's just little by little doing what you can, and then you find, "Oh, well, I got that done this morning, maybe this afternoon I can do a little bit more." And when you're celebrating your small successes and treating yourself with self-compassion like you would a friend, I mean, we talk to ourselves in ways that we would never talk to a friend or family member. We can be so harsh, And yet, if we treat ourselves like we treat our friends, with compassion, with kindness, with understanding, makes all the difference.
Sorry, I kicked myself out of my broadcast.
Oh, I wondered where
Did
you
you
went.
notice?
I did, but I knew you said you'd come back if I lost you.
I
So
don't know
just
how
kept
I
talking.
do that. I really have no idea, but I think it's good luck. I think it's a good luck sign. I'm sorry, but when I left and come back, you were talking about how we speak to ourselves, and we wouldn't treat our friends the way we treat ourselves.
Right. And we can learn to practice treating ourselves with self-compassion, treating ourselves like we would a friend. And here's a 5-word sentence that I think everyone with chronic pain and chronic illness needs to have in your life. And the sentence is this: what do I need now? Not tomorrow, not 5 years from now, but right in this moment. And this is a practice of mindfulness where we are tuning in to our body, to our soul, to our spirit. What do I need now? And then take the first step to working towards that. I mean, maybe you need a healthy meal, but you don't have the energy to put all that together. Well, can you start with a small snack? Can you have a few nuts or whatever's in your diet to support your nervous system? Maybe what you need is to sit down with a cup of tea. Maybe what you need is to reach out to a friend or reach out to someone in this gratitude group, right? And let someone know, hey, I just need to connect. Because that social connection, which you provide here in this group,
Yes.
that is part of the healing process for sure, because we're social beings and we need one another. And it's hard when we're dealing with chronic pain and chronic illness, because sometimes we just feel like isolating. And that's understandable, but we don't want to be in that mode all of the time, because that's not good for our health and well-being.
No, and I feel like the longer I'm in that mode, the harder it is to come back out of it. So I'll give myself a day or two, but I know from my past experience and my rock bottom that staying there is a very dangerous place for me. So that is why I'm always trying to find different ways for us to connect. Facebook user says, yes, the shoulds are so hard. Yes, they are. And another Facebook user says, I set a timer for tasks. It works great to pace.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you guys remember the Fly Lady? I don't know if she's still around. There was somebody when my kids were little, she was called the Fly Lady. And she talked, I mean, she wasn't for chronic pain and illness, but she talked about setting sort of micro goals. Like instead of looking at cleaning the whole kitchen, she talked about shining your kitchen sink. If you guys know who Fly Lady is, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear. Let's see. Courtney says, I was diagnosed in 1998 with both fibro and ME/CFS from a neurologist and rheumatologist. Today, all these years later, I was hoping to heal. Is that possible? Good question.
That's an excellent question. And, I think it's important to make a distinction between being cured and being healed, because we can heal in our soul and our spirit and still be living in a body that has illness. So rather than focusing on whether or not a person can heal, I like to focus on whether or not a person can feel better, because the answer to that question is a resounding yes. There are lots and lots of ways to feel better with fibromyalgia by breaking down your day into small parts, figuring out what aspects of your life need attention. Like, I know you focus on spirituality here. That's a resource that we sometimes overlook when dealing with chronic illness, but meditation, prayer, time in nature, being aligned with something greater than yourself, those are all aspects of spirituality that can support the path to healing.
Such an excellent point. And I think for gratitude too, in order to have gratitude, you need to believe in something greater than yourself, whatever you call that. It doesn't have to be God. It can be nature. It could be the universe, whatever. But you just basically have to believe that you're not the be all end all. You are not, the creator of everything. So for gratitude, you do need to believe in something bigger than yourself. I believe that.
right.
Um,
I had a kind of a teaching lesson the other day actually it was this past fall when I was in Target doing some holiday shopping. I was busy and kind of overwhelmed, and I'd been up all night with lower back pain and was feeling kind of sorry for myself. And so I got in the checkout line, and then I noticed that the sales clerk that was checking out the customers was moving really, really slowly. And she was having this kind of long, involved conversation with the customer ahead of me. And I thought, oh man, I have picked the wrong line again.
mhm.
But then I, excuse me, kind of tuned into what she was talking about and paid a little bit more attention. And I realized she was only using one arm. Her left arm was hanging down at her side in a tight sling, like you might see someone who's had a stroke wearing.
Right.
She had a buzz haircut and a flat chest, and I wondered if she was a
Oh,
breast cancer
right.
survivor. And what she was talking about with the customer was that she was just moving a little slowly because of her disability. But Lauren, this woman, she had an aura of gratitude about her.
Really?
She was kind, she was focused, but she wasn't rushing herself. She wasn't defensive. She was just in the moment. You could tell she was grateful to be alive and grateful to be able to do a job at Target. I'll tell you what, I went away from that experience and had a talk with myself when
Yeah.
I got into the car, and I said, this is part of our common humanity. This life as a human being is an imperfect life. We all are imperfect, and we
Right.
all suffer in some aspect of our lives. And recognizing that we're not alone on this journey, and that our attitude of gratitude and self-compassion makes a huge difference. And this woman doesn't know this, but I've shared this story in my
Mm.
newsletter, and now I'm sharing it to your audience. Do you see the impact of her attitude? It's spreading
It's
all over the
contagious.
world. It's
Yeah.
contagious. That's right.
What a beautiful story. That just put my mind into perspective right now too. It really did. It really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I can actually picture her in Target for some reason. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
It's
You're so
beautiful,
welcome.
beautiful story. Um, Courtney said, "Oh, also my mom had fibromyalgia. Are there genetics involved?"
There
Yes.
are. My mother has fibromyalgia also, and
Oh,
there's a large genetic component with fibromyalgia. If you have primary family members, close family members, parents, siblings that have fibro, you are at higher risk of being diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Um, even though I knew that, I was still surprised when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I was like, no, 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 this isn't supposed to happen to me.
no.
So yes, that's a major factor.
Okay. And she also says many car wrecks. I wasn't the driver.
Yep, me
Um,
too.
oh, somebody else knows Fly Lady. You still use Fly Lady. Awesome. Oh, somebody else. I did the Fly Lady thing. Yes, I learned a lot from
Love it.
Fly Lady. All
I
right. I
love it.
thought, am I making this up? I seem to remember this like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Raylan says this makes total sense. I've suffered a traumatic event 25 years ago that caused me to be hyper vigilant. I finally
Mhm.
feel safe again, but diagnosed in 2020. Same with the self-compassion. That makes sense. Thanks, Raylan. Do you have tips for us on how to find that compassion for ourselves? I know you've shared some strategies already, breaking things down. I think is helpful, but like, what do you do yourself other than running into amazing people at Target?
Well, let me give your readers another resource. I base my work on the research of Dr. Kristen Neff, and she's
Oh, yeah, I
written
love
a book
her.
called Self-Compassion.
Yes.
She also has a workbook called Mindful Self-Compassion, along with her co-author, Dr. Christopher Germer. And, we can do a self-compassion exercise right now, which is really simple.
Let's do that.
And this is something that I do spontaneously, and you'll have to find what works for you. But for me, I don't know if you can see, I have my hands over my heart here.
Mhm.
And I'll just lead you you and your listeners in a really brief exercise.
Great.
Just take a couple of breaths. You can close your eyes or just have a soft gaze and just breathe naturally for a breath or two. And then just feel the warmth of your hand on your chest. And just send love to your body parts and within your heart. Or if you're by yourself, you could say this out loud. You can just say to your body, thank you for being here for me. I know you're doing your best to get me through this life. And I really appreciate all that you're doing for me. And I'm sending you this love right now. And then, of course, you can expand this type of exercise in many ways and lengthen it and do an entire body scan. You can notice the sensations, the hot, the cold, the tightness, the looseness, the pain. You can ask your body part, if you can say to your heart, if you could talk, what would you say to me right now? And my heart right now would probably say, I just love being with these like-minded people, because it makes me realize that I'm not alone on this life journey with chronic pain. And there are so many gifts that we gain from consciously approaching this work. And that's how you start. Just really simple, organic, mindful tuning in, treating yourself as a friend, recognizing that we're all in this together, and being mindful. Those are the 3 pillars of self-compassion.
What are they again?
Treating yourself with self-kindness like you'd treat a friend. That's the first thing. The second thing is the recognition of our common humanity. We all suffer. We're not alone.
Right.
And then the practice of mindfulness, being aware moment by moment. What do I need right now?
I love it. Gang, I'll post a body scan, a short body scan as tomorrow's breath break. Every afternoon at 3:00 Eastern, I call them breath breaks. They're short meditations I find on YouTube, usually around 5 minutes. Some of them are just, watching a bubble expand and go in. But I'm always encouraging our members to just take a moment to breathe and be mindful. A lot of people claim they can't do it. Their mind wanders, which is so normal, as you know.
Right, sure.
But body scans, and I've posted several body scans, but I'll do another one tomorrow.
Yeah, and it can be helpful to put your hands on various body parts as best you can reach them, and, use that own personal healing touch.
For those of you that don't know what a body scan is, it's basically a meditation where you check in with your body parts, and the guide on the YouTube videos will, take you through it, usually head to toe or toe to head. I forget.
Either way.
Oh, okay.
Either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great advice. Love her, Kristen Neff. Me too. Or a guest. We love her too, Dr. Robin Neff. Either way, beautiful. Thank you. That was really helpful.
You're so welcome.
Stephanie Jackson Desroisier. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. When I was diagnosed over 35 years ago, the doctor said, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is you have fibromyalgia. The good news is it won't kill you. Ugh. And sometimes you wish it would, right? I know.
Oh, right. The research shows that fibromyalgia folks suffer greater than people who are recovering from cancer treatment.
Yes.
And that is very, very sobering. That's very daunting. And it's so unfortunate that there's not a greater awareness of and resources for people who are dealing with fibromyalgia. That's why I love my work so much. It's true that it won't kill us, but it might make us wish it would.
Right.
And so we have to be so proactive in dealing with fibromyalgia, because it can be progressive in the sense that our symptoms can get worse if we don't take extra good care of ourselves. And one of the ways that I encourage my clients, and I try to practice myself, is by this little motto. I like to call it less is more. We know with chronic illness, with chronic pain, that we can't do everything that we would like to do. But the good news is we don't have to have meaning and purpose in our lives. So instead of trying to go wide and doing everything and driving ourselves into the ground, I recommend that people go deep into their purpose, just like you have, Lauren. You've gone deep into your purpose with this community and you're having a wide impact. So that's something to keep in mind when we feel discouraged about the impact of chronic illness. Just like that woman in Target, it's so much about our attitude. That's what makes the difference. That's what makes our life meaningful.
Absolutely. The very first thing on my website is a quote by, now his name's escaping me, very famous
Was it Viktor
Man's
Frankl?
Search for Meaning.
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor
Yeah.
Frankl. I don't want to pull up the quote, but it's talking about the only thing, I'm totally paraphrasing, this is not the quote, but the only thing we have control over is our response to the situation.
That's right.
And he's a Holocaust survivor.
Right. And he said that because he was in the prisons
Right.
during the Holocaust. That's right. That's what he discovered.
Yeah, I mean, that's sobering quotes from him to that book is just wonderful. If you guys don't have it, Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl, beautiful book. And he was a therapist as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a psychotherapist.
Yes.
Definitely.
Getting back to what you were talking about with self-compassion, I wanted to share something, and I've shared it here on the show before, but when I was at the chronic pain rehab 10 years ago, one of the exercises that they had us do was, first we wrote a letter to our pain. So whatever we wanted, just a letter to our pain. And then a couple days later, he had us write a letter from our pain back to us. And I still have my letters and I look at them once in a while. I was kind of amazed by this exercise, and I would encourage you guys to do this if you've never done it. Even if you have done it, try it again, after time, because I believe our pain evolves. But the voice that my pain had, I was so surprised at. It was not mean, angry, it was, my pain said, I don't know why I'm saying it's a he, but whatever it is, was compassionate and said, let's just work together. We're stuck together. Why don't we just work together rather than, you pushing against me? You're making it more difficult for yourself. You're creating more pain. I was very surprised by the voice my pain took.
Yes.
Because that was not a happy time in my life either. I was getting sober and I didn't want to be there. But it was very interesting. And that changed a lot of what I thought.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me because I have my clients do similar exercises, and our body really wants to support us. And if we can learn, as you said, to cooperate with our body wants to heal as best it can. It may not be able to be cured in this lifetime, but it wants to be on the path of healing if we can provide the resources that it needs.
Right. And compassion,
gratitude. These are things we have control over.
Right. And not always easy. The gratitude is not easy, and it's not looking on the bright side. It's a practice.
It's not. It's a practice.
You don't, like in our group, we don't talk about our specific conditions that erases the need to compare ourselves to one another. Our pain is valid. Doesn't matter if you have this and you have that, our pain is valid.
That's right.
But, honoring your pain, healing and walking through it with connection, compassion, kindness, all of the things you were saying are things we can control.
That's right.
Not that one. Darlene, I don't have fibromyalgia, but I have polymyalgia rheumatica. I can relate to everything you are saying. Yes. Yeah, I think fibro, and I also have lupus with fibro, and the symptoms of each, they very much overlap. And with a lot of these, is fibro autoimmune?
Well, not technically, but as more and more research has been done, there are some aspects of fibromyalgia that fall into the category of autoimmunity, but it isn't considered an autoimmune condition at this point.
This is wonderful. Thank you. You are welcome.
You have such lovely listeners.
Don't I? I told you. I was telling Dr. Pfaff before the episode, I said, I'm not going to lie and say I've got 1,000, viewers, but they're loyal and they stay for the entire hour.
I
appreciate that so much, because an hour's a long time for regular folks. But, for people with chronic pain and illness, it's a long time. So I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you. And I'm so glad. I knew you guys would love Robin, and your questions are great. Keep them coming. Couple more minutes, I'll do a giveaway. Just type if you want to win a copy of my book. If you already have it, you can give it away as a gift. Just type hashtag, where'd it go? Hashtag gratitude anywhere in the comments. There it is, hashtag gratitude. And I'll find it and send it to you, even if you're overseas.
And I just want to mention that I do have a best self-assessment that's free. If you go to my website,
Oh, great.
when you sign up for the assessment, you can also get my monthly newsletter that's free. And I'd love for your listeners to follow me on social media also. And
the show notes have all of her socials, so and with links there too. But if you go to her website, you can find them there.
Right, the icons at the bottom of my website. And if you do follow me, just send me a message and say I found you on Lauren's show, because I would love to know that.
Please do. It isn't. You're just wonderful. You are exactly the type of guest I love having on, because you give hope. You give people hope, and the fact that you live with it too is very inspiring.
I think it means a lot to my clients. You know, I was in the closet for so many years, and a lot of people with fibromyalgia do stay in the closet if they're trying to be in the workplace, because they don't want to draw attention to their chronic illness for fear it will have implications. But I'm finding that more and more professional women are finding their way to me. And they feel relieved to know that another professional woman has fibromyalgia and is able to work. I don't work full time.
Good.
But I'm able to maintain a part-time fibromyalgia coaching practice and bring my gifts to the world and have purpose in my life. And people find that inspiring and encouraging.
It is.
That they can do the same.
It is. And I like that you share that with your clients, that you live with it also. I think that just gives you so much credibility. Because as we all know, all of us living with any kind of, condition, you don't understand unless you live with it.
Right. That's right.
You look perfectly fine on the outside.
Exactly.
I look perfectly fine on the outside. Living with invisible illness has challenges.
It does. And we don't usually let people see us when we're at our worst, in the middle of the night and in pain, and when we can't sleep and our digestive system is going crazy and we're foggy. That's where we isolate and we don't let people see us, because it doesn't, at least for me, it never felt like, well, what is the point in sharing that?
Right.
What good is that going to do? But now I share it in the context of how you can live with self-compassion and gratitude, live your best life by being proactive and finding ways every day to ask, what does my body need now? And then providing that for yourself step by step, small step by small step.
I love that. What do I need now?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that, gang.
Yep.
What do I need now? Let's see. Thank you so much, Robin. I love that you are such a beautiful soul, helping others deal with chronic pain conditions.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, Courtney. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Good.
I feel less alone listening to this. You're not alone. You are loved and cherished and important, and you belong. So I'm so glad that you're here and that you're sharing with us. You guys are very special beings. It's not our fault that we live with chronic pain and illness. We didn't ask for it. But we can do what we can to help ourselves. And the things that Dr. Pfaff was sharing with us here today are things I encourage you to please check out. She's got a wonderful website. Actually, I can share it. Let me show it quickly.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources for you on my website, and links to other podcasts that I've done and so forth. So yeah, check it out. And my email address is available. You're welcome to shoot me a message and let me know how you're doing and what you found helpful today.
Yes, please do. And if you're watching the recording of this, because this isn't only live, this will stay recorded on LinkedIn and YouTube and my Facebook page. If you're watching the recording, please feel free to still comment, and I will forward your If
Oh,
it's in
that
the
would be
group, I can
great.
forward your questions to Robin. If you didn't feel comfortable sharing tonight, or if you're watching the recording, please do. Raylan says, I'm glad I tuned in. Lots of great info. That's fantastic. What other question? I wanted to ask you, how can we, maybe you've already touched on this, but how can we take our power back when we feel that we're just sucked, fibro or conditions just suck the life out of us often?
Oh, such a good question, because we get to those places, right, Lauren?
Yes.
Sometimes on the daily,
Yes.
but certainly more often than we would like to. First, I would encourage you to just take that moment, that mindful moment, and hands over your heart and check in with your body. What do I need now? But then also, being proactive. A client of mine this week said to me, she said, "Before I started working with you, Robin, things just happened to me in my body, and I didn't know where it was coming from, and I felt like a victim." And so learning more about your condition, recognizing what your triggers are, creating your toolkit of strategies that you can rely on, helps you move from the role into being more of a autonomous, empowered person in managing your illness rather than having it manage you.
I love that. It's so easy to fall into that victim mentality.
It
And
is.
feel, "Why
And
me?" And and it's natural. Of course we feel that way. "Why me? Why do I have to live with
right,
it? It's not fair. I've
right.
treated my body well my entire life. I eat right. Why do I have this? I do everything, yet I still hurt."
Right, and it's okay to grieve those losses
Right,
for sure, and to feel that sadness. We just don't wanna get stuck there.
right.
That's where that question, "Okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. What would help in this moment? Do I need a warm bath? Do I need to get some sunshine? Do I need to talk to a friend? Do I need, to pray? How can I shift my attitude in this moment?"
I love that. Absolutely love that. And the hand over the heart thing, guys, it sounds so simple and corny. Try it. If you don't do
It's
it, I encourage people with their meditation to.
it's a natural reaction, I think.
It's so comforting.
It
It's so
is.
warm. It makes me feel less alone just by doing this.
Right, because
Uh,
you're being there for yourself. You're being
right.
present for yourself with self-compassion and with kindness in the moment of your suffering.
So wonderful. Let me put up her website one more time, gang. This has been such a fantastic hour. I can't thank you enough for being here.
Well, I've
Um,
enjoyed it so much, and I've enjoyed hearing from your listeners.
they're fantastic.
Are.
And the fact that you guys are here, and those of you watching after the fact that you're here tells me that you want to get better.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
want to find out how you can live your best life.
That's why I wanted to be on your show, Lauren, because, there are some groups, unfortunately, that really aren't focused on getting better. They're just focused on commiserating over their pain, and a little bit of that is okay, but that isn't that strategy isn't going to move you forward.
Right. And we have live chats twice a week where people can openly share about their struggles. And my AOG Mighty group, you can talk. But yeah, it's you know staying stuck in what the problem is rather than the solution, like you said, and
Right.
doing the things we do have control over can make our
Exactly.
lives even just a little bit better. It's that acceptance thing is important. Not easy, but important, coming to that place of acceptance and honoring those steps of grief, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you realize if you shift your attitude just 1 degree, you end up at a totally different destination
Mm,
than if you didn't shift your attitude. So these small steps, that's what makes the difference. When my clients get better, it's because they've added one small step to another small step. In fact, here's an activity, a fun activity that you can do is to make a list of 50 things that you can do that might shift your situation or help you feel better only 1%.
I like that.
And don't let it be a burden to do that exercise, but just start a running list of noticing things that make you feel better, like petting your dog or playing with your grandchild or sitting outside in the sun or taking a meditation or going for a walk with a friend. It can be really simple things.
I love that. 50 things that can make your life better, even 1%. That's fantastic. The hour's up. Unfortunately, I told you it goes fast. Let me just
Yeah,
make
it
sure
did
I'm
go
getting
fast.
all the comments. One foot in front of the other. Absolutely.
That's right.
Thank you so much, says
You're
Mel.
so welcome.
Courtney, it's been an honor and a privilege to be on a journey with such beautiful people. I am practicing gratitude every day. Thanks, Courtney. Why don't we give away a couple copies of my book if I can get my mouse to work here?
Sounds like fun.
Here we go. I've got this little StreamYard has this little giveaway tool. So everybody that put in hashtag gratitude will give away a couple copies. So here we go. Number 1. And if you guys could, if you're a winner, please private message me your address. Courtney.
All right.
Congratulations, Courtney. All right. Come on, mouse. All right, let's do another one. So Courtney's the winner, number 1. Congratulations, Courtney. Darlene Linger-Meyer, congratulations.
Yay.
Congratulations. Please private message me your technical issues here. Congratulations, gang. Dr. Robin Pfaff, it has been such an honor to have you here with us for the hour. Thank you so much for being here.
For having me, Lauren.
And gang, thank you for being here, spending the hour with us. It doesn't, I don't take it lightly that you've been with us for an hour. And I feel very privileged to be able to share with you each week. So thank you for being here. And I will see you next week. It's going to be me next week. I'm going to be my own special guest, but we've got a great topic. So I hope to see you there. And thanks, gang. Peace and love, and get your gratitude on.